Oh, hi there, YouTube. It's been a while, you know, since I've been able to post a video. I've been mostly on the TikTok side of the equation. I've kind of given up on, this. Well, I haven't given up on you in particular. It's just, I feel that the demographics are more kind of like in the direction that I wanted my channel to go in over there on TikTok compared to over here on YouTube. It's a little bit more balanced in terms of, which sexes watch, what you're producing. Basically, I get more female viewers on that side of the equation, so that's really why I'm over there now for the most part. It's not really that I've given up on YouTube. It's also just that it was easier to shoot like video on my phone. My Google Pixel at this point. I hope you guys see this shirt and appreciate it, but this I've run out of patience for. You know, I love this phone for a while, and I liked being back in the Android ecosystem, but ultimately, I have run out of patience with literally every cell phone manufacturer that I see easily available inside the United States, and it's frustrating, I suppose, that Android that the Xperia will only offer, a few years of basically software support. That bothers me at this point, but I went and spent the $900 to go ahead and buy finally and adopt, the Xperia 1.5, the 256-bit, model, and then ordered a, 1 terabyte, micro SD card, which should be here like effectively tomorrow. Ultimately speaking, I also got, a Ponagachi that actually has the Pi Sugar attached to it, so that I'll be able to use that and completed my hack RF Portapack. Well, I got that, but now I have the hacker F, so now I've got a whole set of technology to learn more about, fundamentally and everything. But I spent the 900 to get this, and I'm hearing announcements that Xperia is basically ditching the U.S. market, and Sony is basically not bringing it over here. But I've had enough. I am hearing some chatter about the fact that the 6 will be able to be brought online on T-Mobile, from Xperia enthusiast and everything, and from that particular end of Reddit it, and so it's like, long term, I guess, I will ultimately be upgrading this phone, probably with another Xperia, and, I've gotten to this point gradually, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, you're either gonna offer micro SD card support and, a 3.5 headphone jack, or it's bust. I don't care. I will go and move heaven and earth in order to import a device that has the features that I want and put it and align my carrier with that as well, with somebody that's okay with that, that has a more free approach fundamentally if I have to. I'm not doing this bullshit with and willing to play these games with you, Google, with you, Samsung, with you, Apple, anymore. I mean, I'm done. You know, I have pestered you periodically and quietly to bring back, the micro SD card features to no avail. It, you know, I have made evident that the real reason why I didn't adopt this back in the day when you were offering these to distinguish yourself was not that I didn't want them, it was that I couldn't afford them because I was being forced to pay $700, for the room that I'm in, which is probably worth maybe 400, and the price difference mattered significantly, in terms of what I was bringing in income wise. And I've had this frustration for a while now with what Apple has and all the other providers have been doing. Samsung, Google, all of them stopped trying to distinguish themselves and then basically started copying Apple tactic wise. And so, we now have a phone that, if you look around it, like around the edges of the thing. Like, you might detect that it has a SIM card slot, but that's about it, and then basically a USB-C on the bottom, and, that was basically the only thing that has become, fundamentally distinguished, and the operating system is obviously freer, in terms of what you can install on it, but you still have a lack of hardware distinguishment from Apple. It's basically the same, in almost every way. And, the Xperia is the only one that actually has distinguished itself in terms of hardware, in that it ultimately has a micro SD card slot. It has a much better camera that blows everybody else's out of the water, in such a way that nobody else can even come close to the photo quality that you can get out of an Xperia. And it has micro SD and a fucking headphone jack. And I am being warned ultimately that we're not going to get Android 16 on this, on this new phone that I'm getting. It's not going to go up to that. There's not as much hardware support, and that is individually frustrating. But I am realizing that ultimately, come like 2006, 26 or so, in August, I will probably be importing, whatever the latest Xperia is at that point, and putting it on, T-Mobile as far as my carrier is concerned, because I'm done. I have been pestering these companies for a while to stop copying Apple and try to distinguish themselves again. To no avail. The spell has basically taken them over, and they are not letting it go at this point. The fever for it has not broken, and so Apple, I got fed up with and left. And, the fact of the matter is that I still haven't really ultimately gotten everything that I wanted out of the whole, return to the Android side of the equation. And it became evident that the only way that was left was to go for a phone that was aiming at, a more high-end photography, group of people that, basically just, I guess, thought, if these people are going to be taking a bunch of photos with our device that are really high end, they're probably going to want a lot more storage. And so that we're going to give them that ability to expand theirs with a memory card, and everything with the Sony. And I know that they're not bringing it to the US, but I have decided that I will do and move heaven and earth to import in the future. I am sticking with Team Xperia. I'm basically done with the other manufacturers. I am fed up to the point in which it's worth going the extra mile to import a phone to the United States and then put it on a carrier that doesn't have a problem with that.